what is wrong with the world? And I said nothing. The idea of self-destruction, of harming each other, is about to hit some curve. The curious point is what we're going to do after that.
This is the Human Future Podcast, where we explore the intersection of technology and spirituality with some of the world's brightest minds. Together, we paint a vision of the desirable future and discuss the actionable steps to make that vision a reality. And now, without further ado, let's begin. Today, our guest is Millah, who has 22 years of experience in various forms of art, including music, dance, acting, and presenting. Millah's journey moved from a glamorous, artistic world into a more spiritually focused lifestyle. She's also a founder of popular meditation app YouTuneIn, which I personally use on a regular basis. During our conversation, we talked about future vision and philosophy, meditation and technology, human evolution, and challenges faced by humanity. Enjoy it. Welcome. I've always, since the day one that I met you, I've always considered you an interesting character that I don't fully like. Often you meet people and you're like, oh, I think I have a general idea, a good idea of that person, especially me working with a lot of people through photography. I've worked with more than 1,000 people. I've developed this skill of reading people pretty well. Even before that, I was pretty good at reading people. And when I met you, I would say it was something about you that I couldn't fully understand. That's one of the things that I'm very excited about. I mean, yes, we've interacted and, I've known your story, but it would be nice to go deeper in some elements of it and get to know you a little bit more, and also get to know your perspectives on certain things a little bit better too.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think it would be useful and interesting to hear maybe another version of your story. And I'd like for you to look at it as the timeline of your life and looking at different milestones that define the trajectory of your path, and they also define the kind of the contour, like the lines of your character, something that formed you today. Persona, yeah. So just a few things that really were instrumental in forming that persona.
So you want me to describe part of my journey?
Yeah, so some parts of your journey that you think are instrumental in forming.
That contributed for today's.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah, absolutely everything. I have a 22 years experience in art, not just music, but dance, acting, presenting. And if I have to tap into those expressions of me, it's hard to comprehend who I am today, right? Because those are lived and experienced in a very glamorous world where values are different from the values where I stand today. But everything that I experienced was a great value because I apply and professionally say and how to translate what is within me in the best way. And art, it's a beautiful way of connecting to the unknown, right? And this art is that expression of the unknown without boundaries, without, how you say, censura, without censor, no blockages or judgment.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that was the word. So everything that I've done contributed today, and also being my own boss, right? entrepreneur my entire life, and being able to manage a career and to live out of this career. So that was a long journey for me. But in terms of the best skills that I can get from it, it would be patience, resilience, and I was pushed too much to succeed, because it's a world where if you're not in tabloids, if you're not in radios, if you're not selling albums, back then, not how digitally it is today, but if you're not there, you're not succeeding. And also, if you don't express yourself in a trendy way, also you're not succeeding. So today the world is more flexible to change, to being different. Before wasn't that much. So I faced a lot of difficulties in that journey. So that gave me a lot of resilience and patience, and also to really understand the value of success. That was for me and nobody else, right? Yeah. And to be okay with what I gave best. You cannot feel success if you don't give your best. This, as I mentioned in some of my videos that I have out there, success is a state that you feel. Is not a validation from anybody, but it's how you feel. You feel successful or you don't, right? So that skill and that understanding, awareness came along with that baggage, that learning. So I think today my only job is to help people to tap into their own consciousness. And we developed a platform, YouTuneIn, as you know, to enhance this connection and give this to be this tool of connection between the known and the unknown of you, nobody else, right? So I needed all those skills in order to run a company, and also to create and tap into my spirituality deep enough. So everything's combined.
Yeah, so YouTuneIn app and your journey as a founder, I definitely would like to touch on that. I'd like to dig a little bit more into your background, and I know that you're very spiritually open or developed. Another way to describe it. Has it all, like, when did that start for you? Has it always been that way? Have you always felt it, and then over time it's just been developing? Have you always felt different, or was there a time where you was a significant shift for you?
It always been there. I always felt different. I always had memories from different lives, different realms, different places. They're not related to Earth. And yes, that can get a little complicated once you are young, and you don't have much understanding in what you are seeing or dreaming, or and then I start developing that once I had the decision to tap into it. And before, it was just noise. Before was very powerful though, but without understanding and wisdom, it's just noise. It's just a reaction into it, and not being able to translate that noise, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
was it like very disorienting for you to
It was, yeah. Hmm.
could you share a little bit of that experience? How often would you get like what was that experience like for you? Only if you obviously if
Yeah,
you want to go there.
it's nothing too complex. It's just the way I felt about myself, and looking around and seeing like, well,
Mm,
this is how to be normal, but I don't feel that normal,
mm,
right? Um, I have different desires, and people usually have normal desires, and
yeah,
my desires were too deep, like
right,
help the world and
right,
kind of thing.
right.
And I didn't have uh, any. We didn't learn any of it in classes, like in
Yeah,
school and things like that. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. Yeah. And then why did you choose music and performance if your deepest desires were to change the world, or you saw that as your
Yeah, no, that desire was building after I had two different times of my life. I even play saying before Jesus and after Jesus.
okay, I'd love to
Yeah,
dive deep into
because
that.
it was after meeting the Christ energy, the Christ Holy Spirit energy, that I was able to really tap into this unknown and into this spirituality. That was the door for me, like the big gate that I got in. And yeah, before that, that desire was just there, like I was doing things that I wasn't getting. The sensation I was looking for was to be fulfilled, which is not today. I see differently.
Mhm,
However, I was never then fulfilled.
mhm,
So I was always searching for something else. And once I had that connection with the Christ energy, I was like, wow, that's it. I know where I have to go, and I know how I need to, the path I need to follow from
mhm.
now on. And that was it. Was a no way back.
How did that happen? Like, what were you doing? Where were you?
I had a, what they call in church, that is the Holy Spirit baptism on the first time. So it was pretty impressive. I actually, it was funny because I've never touched a Bible before then, and I doubted God. I was like, okay, I know God, I've been searching for you, but and answers, but if you're really here, you're gonna have to prove me. And I mean,
How
that's
old were
the
you?
I was maybe 21, I
Okay.
think. Yeah. And 21
You were kind of
or
like
23
fairly
maybe.
deep into your career.
Yes, I was
Yeah.
very deep in my career. I was
Yeah.
living in London then.
Right.
I was in acting career. And but yes, I was always searching for the spirituality. I was always searching to understand some senses that I always had developed, and how was that possible. So I really wanted answers.
Mhm.
um so then I actually had a very bad behavior with the universe, God, and the whole existence, like, prove me.
Mhm.
So then the pastor that was in duty that day, he came and said, "You are doubting God, and you are saying this, this, and that." And he said exactly what I said.
Mhm.
For that reason, you're receiving the baptism in the Holy Spirit. And like I felt this lightning like inside of me. And my veins start to get like super purple. It's like almost like Marvel. Uh, it was pretty intense, to be honest. But
How long did it last? Just a few seconds, like a few moments.
yeah, a few minutes,
Mm.
maybe 3 or 4 minutes, as I was there, and right away I kneeled and I start crying. And this sentence inside of my brain starts saying, in Portuguese, I remember, but in English would be, everything is new. Like, I'm renewing your blood, I'm renewing you, and I live within you today. And that is exactly a versicle in the Bible, which I never read. And then the pastor pulled up the Bible and said, this is the versicle, like exactly what I said.
You verbalized
I
that?
verbalized, yes, to the church, yes. And yeah, and then since then, I felt this unconditional love within me. Like, I felt so much expansion in that connection. So much, it's almost like it always been there, and I just remembered. And it was beautiful, and it changed me. It changed me completely. So I studied the Bible for the following 2 years.
Yeah,
After
because
that,
you were just completely blown away by it.
yeah, I was in love completely, and but I was always very open-minded around the connection with the higher self of you. You know, this guide or this God within us, which is us, right? That, yes, I wanted to know more, so I kept my researches and learnings about it.
Yeah, and then what do you think? Well, first question, do you think everyone have that remembrance? It maybe just doesn't come in a certain lifetime, or how does that work?
Who am I to say how does it work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, what do you think?
I think everybody has the memories,
Yeah.
yes, but we is a reason why we don't remember things. And I think the people that do remember, they are kind of a guiders to help those to remember, but just as much as needed to continue, because that is what I feel is a collective expansion that it's about to happen. And it has to be steps by step. Imagine if everybody, right, remembers at the same time. And it's a certain evolution in our species and the big being that is becoming aware, which is Mother Earth. And yes, we are part of this contribution to this expansion, but we're not that special, you know?
Yeah.
It's like everything, it's on serving only one purpose of Earth becoming aware. And yeah.
And then what is the relationship between, from your understanding, between God and the earth that it's becoming aware?
What is the connection?
When you had an encounter with Christ, that's almost like one entity, and then there's an earth entity that is in the process of becoming aware. How do you reconcile the two? Like, there are two like conceptual things in a way that I don't know if it's not the same thing, is it?
That is the mind that wants to still be translating the duality, right? Is the 3D. That's all we can see. But it's no duality there. It's all one. It's when you achieve the I am, you're able to understand that everything is connected. Yes. I had one episode in my life where I was able to experience the I am. And it's not, to me, it's not possible to live in that consciousness 24/7. However, I have that supernatural experience. So every time I lose track of that vision, I can connect back to that, right? So it's almost like those helped us to have that one memory. that one episode that always remembers us to look for and remind ourselves that we have a connection and that we are all connected.
Yeah.
As Earth is trying to remind us about our connection all the time.
Yeah, the Earth becoming conscious, that is also something I'm attached in terms of it's like my dharma is to bring more unity in the world because I see that that's the process that is happening. I just want to contribute to that process to maybe not necessarily speed it up, but at least be a contributor to the unfoldment of the. I mean, I think it's an evolutionary process.
It
In
is.
at least in 3D, that's part of the evolution is as more simple parts becoming as like cells becoming more and more complex, creating organisms of different kind to the point where now we have a human organism that's very complex. There's so many moving parts and organs and things like that. And then now humans are like cells that are forming this new entity. That's I consider a conscious Earth.
Mm-hmm. That's a nice way of saying it.
And I
Yeah.
see that internet plays an important role. The technology plays an important role, especially internet, is the neural pathways that connect the cells and the information travels through them. That's like the backbone of the connection between the cells.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, obviously, there are a lot of things within technological realm within information technology that potentially is not serving that trend. But I think through evolution, the process of evolution involves making a lot of mistakes. And so everything that is, or making a lot of mistakes or just mutate, like that's part of the evolution,
No,
mutation.
you are correct. Mistakes depends how you see them. Is a contrast. If it's not conflict, if it's not contrast, there is no evolution.
Sure.
Because we live in a duality. We live in a 3D. And the only way of expanding and moving forward, it is throughout duality. It is throughout the conflict and the contrast.
Mm-hmm.
What changes is the harmony. It's how you tune in, literally, to the self and to the contrast and the way you look at it. So once you find that harmony, that tuning, because it's also is not peace that you want to find, because it's impossible to live in peace. As I said, contrast will always be there. So the ideal is to find that balance, to find the harmony, where then you can understand that life will be more pleasant, I would say, even if you face the contrast, even if you face the conflict.
Conflict, yeah. Yeah, could you also, because I know that you have a lot of kind of unique experiences around like encounters with spirit realm, if you will.
Well, I had a near-death experience, yes. Where, yes, it was visually, yeah.
Do you mind sharing that?
Yeah. So when I had an episode that was a wrong diagnosis of a illness, I don't know if I want to talk about the entire episode, but what I can talk about is that yes, I had a near-death experience once I faced a near-death, right? Throughout diagnosed and maybe an awakening that happened right there in a moment of desperation and reaching out to God and I was very ill, and then suddenly I just saw myself above on earth. And that was like clear as I'm seeing here physically. And I was able to find my mind so full of voices, and it's almost like I was everything. And it was too much. It was like almost I could listen and feel the entire earth and everybody alive. So it was a beautiful vision, but at the same time was very scary because I was like, I'm about to really die. And
You
then,
were recognizing that you were like
yes,
on the
yeah, I left my body. I'm on top of Earth, and
yeah.
like, well, that's it. But I was still attached to my emotional body, right? So then I just made a prayer, said, okay, if I go back, I promise continue the journey, you know. And suddenly I surrendered. I surrendered to what I was feeling. And suddenly I start coming back. But I was part of everything. I was the air, I was the bird, I was the trees, the roots, the ground, you. I was coming through people's eyes. It was like a beautiful connection. And that moment, I was the I am. I was that I am. It's hard to describe because that experience was felt and brought me so much awareness, and that it's impossible to translate, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
I cannot translate how big that shift was. So when I came back, I and by the way, I wrote a song that called "I Find Myself in Pieces." You can find on Spotify. Back then
About
was
that
a
experience.
yeah, it was a pop song. But and then when I came back and I slept, I was sure I was about to leave, and in my dream came the direction, exactly what I needed to do in order to heal. And yeah, so I did, and I'm here today. So I got healed from what I experienced. And if I didn't have that connection, if I wasn't connected, I would have died from the chemicals and from the treatments that I was about to be treated. Definitely I would have died. Yeah. And because of that connection, because I listened to that intuition, I listened to that voice, I was able to heal myself. So then I was committed on this journey to like, yes, people, it's possible people to tune in. It's possible for them to, everybody has that tuner, you know. And if we can demystify that, if we can make it simple, if we could, because of so many religions, right, and philosophies out there, it was really hard, I guess, for people to really find that connection because it was always related to someone else in order to get that connection.
Yes.
And to me, it was like, it might be a way. It might be a way where people can just tap into their own consciousness. And yeah, I think we start doing a good job then. So then the YouTuneIn journey started from there.
Was that the initiation of it?
Yeah, the initiation. So I start downloading directions through to that time. Since that time.
For sure, yeah. So there's a such thing as like natural flow of things. Let's say the river flows at a certain rate, and humans could intervene and maybe change the rate, or let's say build a dam and then change the natural flow, how nature behaves. And I almost feel like it's a similar intervention that humans are doing with technology to interact with the natural flow of evolution. Let's say humans without tools have a certain rate at evolving, and then with tools we tend to speed up the evolution, right? Would you consider that as like uh, we are interacting with the natural flow, and then we have a possibility to like speed it up, or maybe divert it a little bit, and is that kind of what's happening? Like, do,
What is the question?
yeah. So the question is, with something like YouTuneIn app, you're helping people to in a way speed up their process of evolution.
It's not about speeding up.
Okay.
Yeah. Speed up, I don't think is the clarification of it. It's the opportunity. It's not the speeding. It's inevitable. Evolution is
Right.
inevitable.
Right.
Yeah. It will be there. Or destruction. I'm kidding. But
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Self-destruction.
Right.
But yes, there is so much still to learn about sound and frequencies. We are in a very good path right now of discovering a lot. And same way that you eat food, you drink water, and you breathe air. And even your skin is feeding, from this air. And the sun, light, and everything. So is sound. So is how you absorb sound. And you are this sound. You are this vibration. And not feel hungry. Maybe you are hungry. But then if you stand in a light for an hour, maybe you're not that hungry. Because your body's consuming that light as food. Right? So imagine that sound also can do that, but in a different way. But better is still, you, depending on the frequency that you use, you can help the brain to improve and give opportunities for new connections, new neural connections, where you're able to operate in a different way with your brain and not in the robotic way that your body already learned how to express. And imagine that is a professor, vibrational professor, where it's challenging that neuron all the time. It's challenging and teaching the new ways of processing your HD, right? And therefore, your entire body start responding to those new ways. And so, yes, it can be very healing. It can be very transforming. Your cells will rejuvenate, right? You become younger. And also your anxiety, depression, and things like that will be shifted to a balanced state, right? It's like a depressed person. The body is sending, imagine that the body does not understand emotions as good or bad.
Yeah.
It just understands as emotion, right? And a depressed person, it's always in that state, always in that state, always in that state. So the body learned that is their state to be.
Right.
So whenever you get happy, the body goes, this is not the state that you used to be. So I don't think this is correct. So it's very hard to force a person to be happy, and to build that momentum of happiness all the time. So imagine that sound can introduce that little by little, that frequency. little by little. Every day you use a little bit of frequency, so your brain start getting used to it, start to really understand that sensation and producing better chemicals, releasing those chemicals into your body. So yeah, that's the healing process. But yes, I can say that it's a very good tool united with technology that can help humanity to evolve.
Oh, yeah.
But I wouldn't say speed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's not speeding up because that's part of the natural flow of how it evolves. It's
Yeah.
not like you are an outside force that's not part of this and is trying to intervene. You are itself trying to evolve, not trying to just evolving. That's your way
Let's
of evolving.
just, yeah, it's a good way, but let's just think hypothetically.
Yeah.
Earth gives us everything we need, right? From air, ground, house, cars, clothes, food, water,
Yep.
meds, everything. And if there is a virus, a bacteria, and like we can find in nature the healing, the cure. So Earth literally provides is a system where it's providing absolutely everything we need. And if you think that we are also a system, we are also an energetic system.
Yeah.
We also will have ideas and creativity, absorbing, downloading those to provide to our ecosystem.
Yep.
So, yes, I think would be inevitable to bring up a tool like this, as so many others ideas, evolutionary ideas, will be out there also to provide evolution to our system.
Where did those ideas come from?
The infinite intelligence, I would say.
Okay.
I don't like to put labels on it because it's very personal. And as you've been to my retreat, and the first thing I like saying is like, I'm no better than anybody, right? And I'm not here to tell people answers. I have no answers. I have questions. And I can help you to find the better questions. But the answers are yours. It's very personal. And the truth, it's only yours. What you determine that is true. And what I can share is just my life experience and what I think of now, but also I can think differently tomorrow, right? And based in everything that I'm feeling, everything that I'm sensing, downloading, or right, and also what feels true to me, but doesn't necessarily needs to be true to you.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, and at the same, yes, I agree with what you said. Though someone's answers could still be useful, it could still be something that you seek to receive or to encounter. Yes, everyone have their own versions or their own answers and their own perspectives on how it manifests in their life. It is useful to tap into other people's perspectives and their own answers to maybe see how you feel around those answers. Because sometimes you might not be aware that you have those answers, but once you hear someone else's answers, like, oh, this resonates. I think this is true for me also.
Yes, correct. And also, we are, I say for myself, of course, but we are used to that being right. It's better feeling of being right than feel better, or feel good. Not always necessarily being right is to feel good, right? And because of this duality, right and wrong, and the validation of being right, makes us to desire to be right, right? But that's not always good for the soul. And the good part is the variety, like the different perspectives. And if we are open to that, if we are open to those ways of seeing, we can then get a little bit of here, a little bit of there, and start evolving from different areas too, obviously. Yeah, I'm not saying in one subject specifically, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying in general.
For sure, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, that's actually the vision for this podcast, is to paint the picture of the future, and then a desirable picture of the future that the majority, if not all people, would resonate with and would like to have that version for themselves.
Mm.
And then bringing different guests to paint just the segment of, show their perspective, their domain of expertise, their life experience, to draw the path to that version. Basically, share what they know that could increase our chances of manifesting that type of future.
Yeah. I think that's a beautiful intention, right? And if we can share a little bit of what is inside of our vision, our heart's vision, and people resonate with that, we can definitely encourage a lot of people to act the same, do the same.
Mhm. Is there one vision that you yourself are attracted to, that's pulling you in? A particular version of the future, maybe describe your relationship with the earth, with yourself, obviously, with other people, with your family, community. What are some aspects of the future that are pulling you in, like that are very desirable for you? That's something that you would love to see more of, or something different?
That's a nice question. I have a friend that once asked me something. He said, what is wrong with the world? Sunil, you know Sunil. But no, let's not say it. But so this friend asked me, what is wrong with the world? And right away I said, the world needs love, more love. And he didn't say anything. And then I went to my journey 5 years later. He asked me again, what is wrong with the world? And I said, nothing. There's nothing wrong with the world.
I agree.
We are good. Yes, we have to evolve, and we are evolving, but it's all part of the process. And again, that is contrasts, and always going to be, in order to expand and evolve. I think the idea of self-destruction, and that we still have that pattern of harming each other and promoting that anger within still, like not transmuting those egos. I think that it's about to maybe hit some curve, like something will happen, right? I think the curious point is what we're going to do after that.
Mhm.
Are we going to evolve after that? So my desire is that we can continue evolving towards the heart connection. And I believe that as more we can tune in, as more each one work in your self-development, you will know, you will find that consciousness, you will tap into this unknown which will guide you to your light. It will guide you to, enlightenment. Yes, per se. We have the sun pointing at us, so we always like reaching the light, right? That is a normal response to human experience, but also we have the darkness. We came from the dark, right? We came from the womb, and so then light. And so this duality, it's always going to follow us. But as long as you tap into this self-knowledge, this consciousness, and we together, my true desire is that as more people we can help, and every facilitator, tools, and people that are really working towards that, help self-development and allowing people to tap into the consciousness, then we have millions of people tuned, right? And awaken. And once we reach a certain amount of people, then I believe we can shift consciousness. And then will be different levels of contrast, however, not the heavy ones as we face today.
Right. Do you have any idea or guess what that might look like once we shift the tipping point for humanity? What would that look like? What that future might look like? Because I would also say that is a desirable future. I'd like for you to paint it in the way you see it.
You mean tipping point of the curve? Like
So you mentioned that your deep desire is to have enough people to tune in and then have not the majority, but there's a term for it, like a tipping point, basically, to...
Yeah, you numbers I cannot tell you, but curiously, I received a number before, but I don't know if that is accurate. Is 13%.
Okay.
13.
Where do you think we're now as a human being?
Yeah, because it's not just about meditation, right? It's about really tapping into that higher consciousness. But yeah, if you start meditating, I'm not saying that. Yes, meditation is the tool for that. Yeah. However, yes, it's an awakening. That is that awareness that you, with the practice, like you go to the gym, you become stronger. But you don't become stronger just by going to the gym and doing 1 day exercise, 2 days exercise. It's a consistency that you need to apply into your body, so you're able to become the body you want to become. It's the same with meditation. You need to be consistent and really practice. And it's going to be a time where your consciousness will start shifting and you start having those beautiful experiences and witness the change within. So that's what I'm talking about. And that, I think, would be, as far as I understand, a 13%.
Right.
But I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. I always wonder, I also see the trend is not going to be a very gradual change. We're going to hit a particular point after which the change will just happen very rapidly. That tipping point that we're going to reach that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so
we will start doing something else with YouTuneIn, which is the WeTuneIn. We already started last year. And now I believe at the end of this year we will be ready to go. So we'll be consistently every month. We will be united in collective meditation in order to help humanity vibrationally to to tune in to that shift, right?
Yeah, the intention for me to really get the visions from people like yourself, the visionaries, verbalized is because I think the verbalized visions are the bridges to that place, to that state. And then the more accurately or the easier we can digest or like explain, wrap our language around that type of vision, and the more people can walk through that bridge. And that's why almost like getting people excited about it and explaining in terms that are relevant to them, that they where they are today, they might not be necessarily spiritual or they don't consider themselves spiritual. Maybe they don't meditate. How do we plant the seed in them to even consider?
There's a beautiful phrase, which I'm not sure if I'm going to say right, but it's more or less, you cannot force a flower to bloom, but you can change the flower's environment, right? You can provide the environment that will help that flower to bloom. So if you want experience, but you can't yet, it's just observe your environment, observe your habits, and changing those will help you to more and more tap into that desire, right? I think we all know that anxiety, depression, and the well-being is increasing more and more and more, right? And that the studies shows that up to 2030 will be a crash completely. And that is sad. But at the same time, that forces us to really do something.
Yeah.
And once we start moving forward that change and that solution, then it's when the gates of consciousness can open more and more because more people are searching for that tuning. I think the difficulty is from people that don't meditate is like to really enjoy meditation, right? To really have that desire.
Yeah.
So there are out there so many tools, but they're not mentors today. Like in my time, it's like if you meditate for real, you have to go to the mountains with a monk and really learn from the monks. But today you have plenty of tools that can help you with that. But as a user, when I was searching for those, I could not really feel engaged. I could not. I would lose interest very easily because they are not.
As a user of meditation practice, or
yeah, right. When I was a learning process back then, 2009, I was one of the first users of one of the tools out there, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing," but I'm not.
Right.
He's like, I don't feel that it's something else. How do I go deeper?
Yeah.
And I think that was a big problem for me. How do I go deeper? Because that is is a line there, and I didn't know how to get in there. And that's why we decided to create YouTuneIn to really go deeper into that connection. And it's not just about the teachings, the knowledge, and it's about the frequencies that will help you to get there, to tune into that
like elevated state.
Elevated state, for sure. But with that, what happens is you are able to create new emotional connection and new engaging. Is like it's transforming experience. So you always want to go back to that. making the habit of meditation easier, like open up the habit for you. So that's what I think that was lacking, and we decided to create something very unique that would help humanity to really tap into that desire, and also is not just for beginners but also advanced, like how to go deeper, how to really tap into that state, deeper state.
Yeah, for sure. The way I see it, at least it's coming up for me, this type of understanding is every physical manifestation has a portion of itself in the more ethereal realm. Let's say an earth, in simple terms, maybe has, let's say, apart from the physical matter, it has the what are they called, atmosphere. It has gravity. There are more subtle layers of the entity of it. And so humans have, yes, we have physical body, but we also have a more subtle version, like there are more, like thinner layers of our own being, our and so with sound is a very subtle thing, right? It's, yes, you could create a physical change with sound. There's so many, all kinds of experiments where, let's say, there's a water pouring, and then they turn certain vibration, and or like the plate of sand, so the sound has the physical manifestation, but it's a lot more subtle than you just like hammering something or like having a physical change.
You're just able to perceive sound as you perceive because of your senses.
Right.
So that sense, it's able to translate sound as limited as it can be.
Right.
But sound, it's much more than that. You have to think about sound as a frequency. And there's layers and levels of that frequency where your ears cannot translate. But that sound is able to lift a rock, to lift a car, to lift a building. It depends.
Tell me more. Like what?
I cannot tell you more because
That sounds like
I'm not
magic to me.
PhD in that, but it's just what is coming through me.
Yeah. So it's basically like we don't fully understand how we think, for the most part, it's like this Newtonian world where if you drop an apple, it'll fall or something like that. But there are other methods of interacting with physical reality with technologies like vibrations, and not necessarily even sound. They're just frequencies that you are able to create, or like you're able to piggyback on the sound. And that's why, from my understanding, you often have to have two headphones to create the isolation, to create a third, basically, or like a...
Yeah, your brain does the third
Right,
connection,
right.
yes. Mm-hmm.
And so that third one, that's how we're able to perceive it. And we have fairly limited understanding of those types of frequencies and how they have an influence on this physical world.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of how it is? Or...
Yeah, pretty much it.
Yeah.
I mean, today it's a lot of information out there and studies from scientists and everything. And we're pretty much going great directions right now of understanding more and more sound. But you need to get out of the box a little bit if you want to go wild.
And what does that mean?
Yeah. Let me try. Imagine that through those dimensions of expression and awareness and duality and knowing self, and then once you get in a very high dimension or of awareness of there is no separation from dimensions, okay? There's that idea of that is a different realm. Dimensions are not realms.
Okay.
But let's say that once you tap into the ninth, for example, the I am, that you're part of all, right? And I guess it's the ninth. But
You said the ninth dimension?
yeah. When you are the unity, you go back to the unity. But imagine that sound can be the expression of archangels, or right? And those mantras and chantings can like really reach high dimensions. So you cannot think sound as just a hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would you
sound,
say
it's an element. It's it can transform, it can become aware, it can be,
Yeah. Would you say sound also serves a function of
The
an
Bible says
interface?
something very intriguing, which is, in Portuguese, is o verbo se fez carne, which is the verb became flesh. I don't know if it makes sense in English.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the verb, vibration,
Right.
became
Yes.
the body, right?
Right.
So
Yeah, that's why language is a tool for manifestation, at least the way I see it. The better you can articulate your thoughts and ideas, the more manifestation power you tend to have.
yeah. And also, there are people in the world that they can translate beautifully everything that come through them, and also how their minds are, processing, and they have this beautiful knowledge and this beautiful gift of translation. But some people, they usually who translates cannot feel that much, but people that feel much sometimes cannot translate that much, but
By
sometimes
translating, you mean from the
translate.
ethereal into the physical?
Yeah, but the translation can be through parables, or forcing you to translate yourself, kind of like Jesus would do, right? But it holds, but I'm not saying that it is, I'm just saying hypothetically here, but holds a huge amount of energy within that it's able to transform, right? And it can be in many ways manifested, right? Through energy, through sound, through love frequency, and there are also people out there that holds that wisdom inside that doesn't say anything. It's just to look at that person, you are able to shift, right? Is the presence, is the, yeah.
Is it about the visual aspect of their presence, or is it about...
No, it's nothing about visual.
Right.
It's about what it's felt.
Right.
It's about, the level of achievement within.
But was the feeling originated through the visual cortex? Like you said, by just seeing them, you're maybe understanding
but
how...
if a blind is seeing, how would the blind see? By feeling, right? It's the same. It doesn't matter. You just see because you see, and but it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's the presence.
Visualization and vision, I mean, it's one of the biggest source of input for us, at least the one that we're aware of, and maybe the one that's more developed in navigation of 3D space visual, right? And feel like so the practice of meditation often involves some kind of visualization, which you're not necessarily using your eyes to visualize, but it's a similar practice of seeing with your third eye in a way. Would you say?
Yeah. There is a university or a school or something in London, and I believe in Belgium as well, that they are doing experiments with superhumans. And it's so beautiful to see. Like, they can literally read a book with their eyes blind. They can literally perceive reality with their eyes closed. And they also developed something with people that had eye problems with this technique, and this person start to see again and not really needing the eye to see. How do you explain that?
Yeah. How do you explain that?
Yes. Once you are able to tap into this consciousness of you, the body is the one that expresses. It is regardless, but how you are expressing, right? And if there exists evolution, how would that evolution be? Remember, I would love to help you to make the right questions, and the answers are yours. If there is evolution, how would that be, and why wouldn't be possible? Right? If there is an observer of the self, who is observing? And who is in command? Is there a command? Who is in control? Is that a control? Is that a button where we switch on and off? Right? And so the vision, it's unto where you allow yourself to see. And I believe there it's part of us that is not even close to what can be expressed, like our abilities as human in this body. You know, I think we're still very limited, and I think we have tremendous abilities and still to be evolved and throughout our senses.
Yeah.
Right.
Is it about our senses that are able to perceive, like in this example, or is it about maybe your ability to tap into your higher self that's able to perceive physical reality? How do you or
I need you to elaborate better. This one, I'm sorry.
right? So clearly their eyes are closed and they don't see the reality with their eyes,
But they can see.
but they can see.
Mhm.
One interpretation that comes up for me is maybe the same way how we, let's say, have downloads of information and we're able to solidify them with language, maybe write them down or verbalize them. But we're basically connecting to something. Let's say it's your higher self that's communicating messages to you, and then you're processing them through your conscious mind and able to solidify them in this reality, right? Maybe this exercise is us tapping into the higher self that's knows everything, and we're able to pull that information from there and not from here in a way.
Yeah, that's a good way of seeing it.
Yeah.
But also imagine imagine that a cat has ears like us, but he hears a lot more than us, 1,000 times.
Yeah.
A dog, too, can sniff.
Yeah.
But it sniffs it like 1,000 times. it's almost like, yes, that sight can be evolved and not just seen as we see, but evolved from what it is to more. But I don't think it's a limitation to that. And also to any senses, Yeah.
Have another maybe 10 minutes.
What time is it?
It's 7:03.
Okay.
Your time to go.
Yeah. Well, I'll need to go soon.
Maybe 5-10 minutes.
Mhm.
Yeah. One thing that I wanted to share with you around visualization, I often have I'm I would consider myself a tech junkie. Like I follow tech trends because I see it from the perspective of human evolution. Technology is being on the forefront of the evolutional process. And often I get downloads and visions of like a future implications of particular technology, something that we don't have yet, but something that will exist, or it's basically almost like tapping into the space of possibilities and seeing something that's more probable based on my knowledge of different aspects of technology and recognizing that there's a pattern here and that there's something emerging, something like that. And so in the visualization department, I've had visions where utilizing something like mixed reality or virtual reality, imagine an experience where you're sitting in front of the mirror. So you are wearing some kind of like headset that's ideally not heavy. It's a very light. You don't even feel it. Similarly, how we have AirPods, right? There are no wires, nothing. It's just very natural. And so you're seeing yourself in the mirror, and now this whole practice of bringing your awareness to yourself as you're looking at yourself. Now you also additionally see, as you breathe in, you see the air is flowing through your lungs. It just gives you a lot more awareness about how your body behaves. So you can basically create like a simulated experience that as real as you're looking at yourself, it feels as real as you're looking into the mirror. But it also has additional things to it, like things like we know that breath is a real thing, but for some, for example, visualizing their energy chakras might be very difficult. Like even the whole concept of what is that when they go into meditation and you say, oh, envision that you have these chakras and the energy flows. Somebody who've never experienced it before, it would be hard for them to visualize it. And I feel like an experience like that, where they literally see it with their eyes, they see themselves in the mirror, they can literally just move around and they see perfectly their own body. And additionally, they also see the energy centers. You can really educate them on what it actually might be happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Somebody got to create that experience.
I think they are there already.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are machines that can read the energetic field.
It's more from the perspective, not reading the energetic field, but creating an experience for someone to see it in a way that's very immersive and very real. So the easier we can visualize something, the easier for us to manifest it, or like to start having more awareness around
Yeah,
that.
it's just because we're very attached to the five senses. We need to see, touch, smell, taste.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And we need to see to believe. But now we're shifting to believe so you can see the manifestation of it. To really believe and be. So if you meditate constantly, every day, imagining that you are what you want to be, you are, and you have the things you want to have. And if every day you bring that emotional state, you are sending those signals to the universe. And there's no way that you will match a different signal. That reality will start shifting. And I think the challenge is to keep up with those small manifestations that will start to occur. So and sometimes it's not one thing that needs to be in alignment, it's several things, and it doesn't happen, so people get discouraged. So again, you need to be consistent and practice, and be in that state and really feel you are in that state. So until that state, it's really present there and you are living that reality. So it's believing so you can see instead of seeing so you can believe.
Mm-hmm. I understand, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The notion of kind of like wrapping up our conversation. This has been a very fruitful and engaging, interesting conversation as I was
Are you still intrigued?
Yes. Yes. I know that there's still a lot of
Okay.
intriguing perspectives that you don't share until people ask.
Yeah, exactly.
And it takes time to uncover them.
Mm-hmm.
1 hour might not be enough sometimes to cover those.
Maybe a second episode
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah. Is there anything that you think would be useful for you to share in this platform, considering that we can create beautiful micro content as well that you potentially
Mm-hmm.
use for your own channels? A message. So maybe what I thought may be useful would be sharing a message with either your followers or people who are tuning in, something that could give them an extra push to keep moving, keep evolving, keep growing, or anything else that comes to mind.
Comes through.
Thank you.
I think would be useful if the understanding of enjoying the journey could be really there for people. And it's so easy to say, enjoy the journey, enjoy the journey, enjoy the journey, when the journey, it's been hard for some people and very difficult and challenging, confusing, and you're facing a lot of anxiety, depression, and everything. It's not an easy ask. And I think it's a very easy said, but not an easy ask. And not very easy comprehended too. But if I can bring the understanding that wherever you want to be or achieve, there is a limitation that you already put in yourself. And at the same time, depending how far you are, you're putting a lot of weight too. And if you take that limitation away and just be infinite, the sky is not the limit instead, right? And you also are not in a hurry to get anywhere because you took out that limitation. That is something that really helps. But then, Millah, I need to have a vision. I need to have a goal, right? Yes, the goal is to set the goal, but not limit that goal. And just expand that goal. And you can go beyond that goal, right? But Millah, that's going to make it even harder. I know. But again, you don't need to put that weight on yourself. And once you understand, because if you go through your journey complaining that I'm not getting there yet, it's hard, the entire journey will be unpleasant. And maybe you get there, but throughout a lot of blood on the way, right? And once you get there, it's not even fun because you look back and you say, God, it was so hard to get here.
For sure.
I'm exhausted and I'm not even enjoying this moment now. So if you have fun with the process, once you get there, it's going to be like, wow, I knew it, right? That's just great. So, but if you get there and you have that limitation, you said, yes, I knew it. Yes, that's fun. But then again, so now what? So if you have that infinite, road, which it is, and take it or leave it, believe it or not, you don't die. There's continuation, again, believe it or not, take it or leave it. But yes, it's an infinite road. So why not to find that balance within? Oh, I'm having conflict, emotional conflict. Yes, and you have more. Yes, I'm having a trouble here and a contrast here. Well, until you don't learn what that came to teach you, that thing will stuck there more times or longer.
Yeah.
So, or you open the paper in front of you and start really understanding the process and on it. And next, otherwise you're going to be stuck in those things and the road will be harder and harder. But what makes that possible? It's only one thing. A decision. It's a decision. You decide how long you want to stay in that state. You decide. I'm not feeling, I don't know, I don't have the pulse to change. I don't have the pulse to continue. I don't have the pulse to make that step forward as you are telling me, Millah. I know, but something you need to decide. Something inside of you need to decide. I want this. I want this change. And sometimes we just don't want that. We are used to that state. But it is at the end of the day, it is a decision. You decide until when you feel that you need to be in that state. So if I can share, that is, try to enjoy the journey. And look for the tools that you will be able to manage that life. I have to say, YouTuneIn, it's a tool where you can manage that stress level. You can manage that life. You can manage that frequency. If you have that daily, you be able to not be that reactive to things and really process. And it's a total change. But like YouTuneIn, there's so many other tools out there and help and support. Build your support system and build healthy habits, healthy habits for yourself. You will see the change. You will, and that it's priceless. So then you will be able to appreciate more things and to appreciate more your family, your friends, and the things around you. And your lenses of the world will change. And it's not how you will see with these eyes, but how you perceive those visions. If it makes sense.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit of my reality or my craziness.
Do you consider yourself crazy sometimes?
Oh, no, not me.
Yeah.
No. But I'm not sure if some people think that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, if they think somebody's crazy, that and they see themselves in them.
exactly. That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. It's just, it's a good feeling to be able to share the truth, And before, when I was in my career, I was trying to translate that through music, through art. But now being able to really express that truth, it's priceless. It's good. It feels good. Yeah.
It feels good. If it feels good, you're on the right track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.